Hello, good morning, everybody. That's Looms, look. Loomsy Loo. Oh, he wanted to do a video today, but he's got a sore throat. Anyway, so, yeah, this morning, as I was having my coffee, you know, I came across something on the internet that made me feel truly sick, and it truly shows us just the nature of the beast. It's this YouTube channel by this girl called Poppy. You know, Poppy as in opiate Poppy. You know, like in The Wizard of Oz, you know, we are inundated with the symbol of the poppy, and it basically refers to mind control. Opium for the masses, sorry, in terms of everything that is used to bludgeon humanity's consciousness, that is those of us who are sold. Anyway, there was an interview with that creature. I will, when I've done this video, when I've uploaded it, I will put a link in the description box below, because I want you guys to watch it. It's not because I want you to you know, to delve too deeply into the dark side. You know, it isn't about that. It's just that as warriors of the light, we need to know these things. We need to see and know and sense what's going on. I mean, you know, I spent the last 3 years really asking these questions. It's a hard question. It is whether, as a warrior of light, we simply ignore the darkness. We, you know, it's like, you know, a friend of mine, Kate, she goes through life, and she's a really good person, I really like her, but she goes through life just blotting out everything she doesn't like. Which means that she just doesn't see and doesn't hear and doesn't sense and doesn't smell and doesn't know, basically. And yeah, I guess, God, this is difficult to put into words, and it shouldn't really be, and yet it is. I think that for me, anyway, personally, I cannot go through life pretending. I cannot go through life pretending the dark side isn't real. You know, I'm awake to such a deep level through my own personal experiences, starting from, well, when I was born. All the things I've seen, even from when I was a very small child. All the things that I've witnessed, all the things that I've felt, the trauma that I was subjected to, the abuse, the violence, the complete and utter lack of love, etc. I had a really hard time in life, and I'm not saying that because I feel myself to be a victim, because I've learned now that this is it's not the case. It's actually a gift, because it's enabled me to awaken to the level that I have. Had I had a nice life, a pretty happy, nice sort of life, that would not have happened, because the impetus would not have been there. Just a minute. The point is, a lot of people go through life blinkered, and they actually consciously choose to blinker or allow themselves to be blinkered. Like, in the 50s, the 60s and the 70s, every woman wanted a fur coat. Now fur is a fucking abomination, especially mink. All fur is evil. They would literally rip the skin of a still living animal to get the best quality fur, by the way. Eating meat, in my opinion, is an abomination, because we have literally... humanity thinks of animals as inanimate objects that have no feelings, and that mean nothing, that are just there. Animals just exist for our use and for our consumption. I've met cows that had so much soul in them. I've communed with them. Also horses, cats, dogs, bees, butterflies, you know, as well as nature, trees, the soil itself. It's all vibrating with intense life and intense energy. And part of the dark satanic agenda has always been to get humanity bludgeoned and traumatized to such a dense, dark, heavy, low vibration that we are filled with self-hatred, which then cuts us off from ourselves and also cuts us off from nature and animals. Fragmentation. Remember, I've talked about this before. And so in the 70s, I remember women wearing fur coats. My mother wanted a fur coat. She had to have a fur coat, you know. Nobody spared so much as a single thought as to how these fur coats were produced, where they came from. The horror of the suffering, you know, that is intrinsic to putting that fur coat on your back, you know. And it's the same with leather products. I know there's people online going on about veganism being part of the dark agenda. I don't see why. I think our diet is important. I eat eggs. I love eggs. As long as the chickens are happy, I don't have a problem with that, you know, etc. But more and more and more I see that we have been so manipulated and gaslighted and wounded and traumatized that we are literally unable to see that animals are just as important as us. They have feelings, they love their young. You know, you want to watch elephants. That the king of Spain, he goes to Africa every year and he likes to shoot lions and elephants. And there was a little baby elephant whose mother he had shot. I mean, the grief and the rest of the herds, how they took care of that youngster. And, you know, literally animals are incredible and they are so important. They are just as important as people, and us eating them is not right. And you could argue, well, animals eat each other. Yes, and I would argue back that that isn't natural. That is not the natural state of things. That is the dark construct that we have been trapped in, you know, through the fall and the dark reset, because there was a point where we barely needed to eat at all. We just didn't really need to eat. You know, you could eat something for the pleasure of it, but you didn't need to eat 3 meals a day to keep yourself going. All of that is just here now in the dark reset. This heavy, stunted world where everything is an uphill struggle means that animals are forced to hunt and kill and eat each other, which is all wrong. Where humanity eats meat. You know, I'll tell you something, right? If people actually had to kill their own meat, it would stop most people eating it, believe me. It just would. I would not be able to kill an animal, you know, I wouldn't be able to do it at all. And I think, yes, there are people who hunt. If you don't need to hunt to survive, then I think you shouldn't be doing it. If you have to survive, maybe that's slightly different, but... And I mean, yeah, I can't tell people how to live their life. But I'm sorry, guys. I guess I'm blathering on a bit actually, because there's so much going on. You know, really. Just the thought I had as well the other day about how everything just kind of loops back to the dark side again. It's like, oh, solar panels. Oh yeah, it's good for the environment. No, it isn't. Toxic sludge. Look it up. Wind farms. Not good for the environment at all. Electric cars. Bullshit. You know, so many people everywhere now. And I mean, where are they all coming from? You know, it's like down here. The roads are choked with cars and there's people everywhere. And all of a sudden there's houses everywhere. And it's very Mandela effect because we were driving around and it was like, hold on a minute, there was a field there. And now there's all these houses there. And I remember distinctly there was a field there not that long ago at all. And these houses weren't that new. They were at least 8-9 years old. And people everywhere that I get no energy from whatsoever, because I read people like a book, you know, I really do. And when people have soul, I can feel it. It comes off them in waves and it feels good. And these people that I find are just, there's nothing, they're blank. They're blank. And then that Poppy YouTube channel, which has millions of subscribers. Of course, figures can easily be manipulated, but this and all these weird glitches of these celebrities or these newscasters, all of a sudden freezing, and they don't blink for like minutes. Okay, people blink, we all blink, we have to blink because your eyes start to bloody hurt otherwise. So that happens a hell of a lot. Now this channel, like I said, this channel that I found, the woman is a born-again Christian. I don't hold with Christianity myself. People must believe whatever they like. I'm not into Christianity at all. Gnosticism has a few very interesting points for me, but I prefer to do my own thing. I do not like dogma, and I don't like hierarchy, and I don't like any of that. It's not good for me. It just, no, it doesn't gel with me at all. I like to do my own thing, and I get constant guidance. I think it's always best for people to really just follow your heart, follow your intuition, you know, and don't stagnate on any plateau with any particular religion, especially, or dogma, or there's so many traps, so many, oh yeah, this is what I believe, and before you know it, you'll stay there for years. You know, don't do that. Keep moving, people, keep moving, because this is an ongoing journey. But I'll see if I can find that Poppy interview, and I will post it in the description box below. You know, and then you'll have a link to the channel, obviously. You can go in there if you want, you know, and have a look for yourself. People that don't look the dark side in the eye, I think, are, maybe they don't need to. Some people, you know, soul people, they're here to do something. They're here for, yeah, a quest, and it doesn't involve that, and that's fine. But there are people who really ought to be doing it because it is part of their quest, perhaps, and they just don't want to because maybe they're scared they're going to get sucked into the darkness, like in a vortex, never to emerge again. Well, I haven't found that to be the case. You know, I never went looking for evil. Evil came looking for me. It came banging on my door when I was a very small child. You know, so I never really had a choice in the matter. And ever since that day, I have had a penchant for evil, not in the doing of it, but I know what it feels like, and I know the sounds of evil. And like I said, I can sense evil. I just know it. I can feel it in places, some places where very bad things have happened. I can see it in people. If somebody has done evil things or is an evil person, and believe me, there are profoundly evil creatures out there, I can feel it, you know. You think, oh, now she's stroking her cat. Is she saying the cat is evil? Blooms, are you evil? No, he says he's not. Okay, I believe him. I mean, like again, you know, organic portals is a means for demonic entities to take possession of a body and to do the most horrific things. Serial killers are a case in point, you know. Whenever they're apprehended, you know, these serial killers, like the one called Son of Sam is a case in point, you know, when he was hauled in. I mean, the look on his face was like of disbelief and incredulity of, well, what have I done? I was just having a bit of fun, you know, murdering people. It was great. It made me feel good. I don't understand why I'm being arrested. You know, Ted Bundy was the same. I mean, these creatures do not have souls. A soul being could never do things like that. There's just no way. And I tend to like to point that out to people who have trouble believing that the vast majority of people we see around us are basically not souls. They're not. You know, on the other hand, there is a phenomenon that I haven't really researched that much, but I could see this being true. It's called walk-ins. So that somebody who was soulless before and just basically an OP could become soul if a soul decides to inhabit that body, you know. And I do believe these things happen. When that happens, there will be a profound change, obviously, in this person, because this person now has a soul, has become an individuated soul, and so things tend to happen quite rapidly. There was a guy, he was a taxi driver down the road, and he was always, you know, there was nothing there, there was nothing going on there at all. It was like literally talking to a computer, because they have a very limited scope of conversational topics, you know what I mean, and it just goes from there to there to there and back again and so forth and so on. Now all of a sudden something changed in him, and I mean, whereas before I could feel nothing but fugue, after that I felt resonance and it deepened, and all of a sudden this guy is waking up at a massive rate. I mean, really, like, wow, it's incredible. So that made me feel really happy. I thought it was amazing, you know. You know, everything we do, say, perhaps even feel, resonates and has a bearing on the world around us. It is true. But denying evil and looking the other way, saying, take it away from me, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to look at it, that is cowardice, and it actually means that you're helping evil, you're serving the dark side, you know, by doing that. I'm not saying to become prey to the fear that this stuff generates. It is terribly shocking, you know, it is. But you cannot live in denial about your enemy, and it is the enemy. It is. Look what it's done to our beautiful planet. Look what it's done to the animals and to nature. Look around you, people. Do you see all the asphalt roads? Do you see all the electricity pylons? Do you know what they do to people? Do you see all the smart meters and the chemtrails? You know, do you see all the abandoned animals? Do you see what they do to the cows, the cattle? You know, and what they inject them with and how they treat them. Have you ever seen how they treat battery chickens or pigs? Do you realize what they do to animals to make veal? You know, have you ever seen the giant fishing nets that go on for miles in the ocean? Have you ever seen that? You know, there are so many horrific things that are happening, and just because we're busy not looking at that because it's too upsetting. It hurts my feelings. It's too upsetting. How bloody selfish is that? And just whilst you're doing that, do you think that's not going to make it go away? No, it won't. It won't make it go away. You know, it won't make it go away. Christmas is coming up in this country, and millions of turkeys and millions of geese, and I really like geese, are going to be slaughtered so that people can sit there and munch away. And it's an abomination. You know, it is not of the light, people. It isn't of the light at all. I don't believe that. We are in a dark reality here where Native American people had to hunt and kill bison for their food and for everything that they needed to survive. And at least there is honor in that, that they could not have lived any other way. But it's still wrong because we are cast in the solid, because we were cast into this dark realm where the only way to survive is like that. And it has wounded all of us very, very deeply to have been forced into this corner, actually. Because every time we kill, we hurt ourselves. Every time we hurt someone else, we hurt ourselves. Whether that's an animal, a person, That was always the agenda, because it's utterly parasitical. It feeds and feeds and feeds and feeds, and it's like a downward spiral of a feeding frenzy of darkness. Eat or be eaten, dog eat dog, eat, consume, but especially in our modern society, which really rose after the Second World War, in the 50s, where everybody had to have this and that, and we all had to have it all, and everybody was celebrating the fact that they could have it all. And American culture was spread throughout the world. It's not really culture. It's you listen to radio programs from the 30s and the 40s and how utterly banal they were. Yeah, it tells you the level of consciousness of people. That people would enjoy that, think that was funny, think that was entertaining, enjoy that, sit around as a family and listen to it. When really, satanically, they were being made fun of, The dark side was saying, look, they find that entertaining. Just as today they sit back and say, look, they love watching the X Factor, and they find that entertaining. They have nothing but scorn and contempt for humanity, for animals, for nature. There is nothing but scorn, hatred and contempt. And, when sold people who are not awake still play that game, from childhood we're indoctrinated into this. We learn to hate ourselves because, our soul knows this is wrong. And it piles up, the picture of Dorian Gray and the cesspit in the basement of our being, and, And then, paradoxically, because we have that in us, that then somehow enables us to recognize it in the awakening as out there and in here, and that is evil. Oh wow! And of course, the healing of it all, the cleansing of it all, is the hardest journey ever. There is no looking the other way, there just isn't. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. It's there. It won't really let you look the other way. You can try very, very hard. The New Age has been busy trying for years to look the other way, and don't look at it, don't acknowledge it, and it will go away. Well, it hasn't gone away. In fact, the world is darker now than I've ever known it to be. You know, so that psyop didn't exactly work out now, did it? Because more and more people are waking up and are not looking the other way. Do you see that flickering behind me? My lights do that all the time. Watches, lights, everything flickers on and off. Electricity goes a bit weird around me and my other half as well. Sorry guys, I'm a bit rambly today, but you know, I get so many nuances in my head and in my heart, and I don't script, you know, I just, because that never works, it never works, so I tend to just do a video when I feel like doing one, and then I just let it all come up and out as it is, and I'm sure you guys kind of know what I'm talking about anyway, because, you know, you're there yourselves, you know, and yeah, no, it's because I was watching a film yesterday and it was set in the 50s and it was all fur coats and consume. It was the new consumerist society, and we could all have washing machines and dryers and all these gadgets that everybody started wanting and buying in the 50s, you know, and you know, that's plastic. Wow, plastic, what a wonderful invention, you know. And of course, ever since then, especially, the refuge tips all around the world have been piling up and piling up and piling up. I mean, humanity treats Earth and animals and nature just like it's the enemy. It has to be destroyed. And that is the dark, satanic evil, that hate, that crank, that sugary, high-pitched, hatey E sound inherent. It is the sickness that is evil. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart when I'm in the car. And I know that one way or another, indelibly, I'm a part of it all too, because I buy things that are packaged in plastic, some of which can be recycled, some of which cannot. I don't know why that is. I use fuel. You know, I do, as I do my very, very best all the time, but it's not enough, and it could never be enough, because one way or another, you know, it's with 7 to 8 billion people on the planet that all want homes, that all want cars, that all want televisions, you know, that want this and that and that and that and that. Or even in the highest exaltation, in the cleaner, more compassionate way, we'd still need wood, so trees would have to die. We would still need this and that and ooh and ah. You see what I'm saying when I say it always loops back to the dark side? And that is because this realm is not of itself of the light. It isn't. It was rigged. The game is rigged. You know, and it's parasitical. And that needs to come to an end. That has to be dissolved, exploded, I don't know exactly. And the only way that's going to happen is with this reset that I talk about. And this is why we are going through this initiation. You know, it's a bit like maybe it's not a very good analogy, I don't know. But you know, coppers, when they want to do a bust, say the mafia or whatever, but they never really do successfully, because I work with the mafia. They are the mafia, but that's another story, as Rudyard Kipling once said. But you know, they send in agents, don't they? They send in coppers to pretend they are whatever. Well, there's a word for that, but I can't think of it right now. So they send in an agent, you know, to infiltrate and give them information so that they can bust said crime ring, whatever. blah. Well, in a sense, that's what we are, I think. We are agents of the light, and we were sent into this dark realm to do a job, you know, to go poof, zap, you know. And of course it's not real, you know, we're not really here. It's not real. It's a story, it's a theatre production, it's a dream time. We're not actually really here, but this experience, this quest, is something that we, of our own free will and volition, agree to undertake for some sort of very important purpose. As I feel it, I can feel it, and I can sense the sound of that, but I can't really put it into words because it's not of this realm, and so I cannot really put it into words, because the truth of that lies in the true realm, which is home, which is where we came from. It's a completely different place than this heavy, stunted place, you know. I want to see some sunshine, man. You know, every time around, you know, this time of year, the sun goes away, and it's like Game of Thrones, you know, like the 30-year winter. Oh, God. Now, veganism, I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't see how that could possibly be a bad thing. But you see, when the mainstream powers take something that is naturally, organically developing, as in compassionate love for our fellow living beings, animals, etc., the mainstream, the dark hand, will try and hijack that. It always does. I believe that was a natural, organic awakening going on, say, in the 60s, late 50s it began. And of course they hijacked that, hence we had seen in the canyon. They do that, and so veganism they will hijack that and twist it in some way. That is for sure what they do. They do that all the time. You know, again, think for yourself, people. You know, use critical thought and use your intuition. I am not a vegan. I don't eat meat. I still occasionally eat a little bit of fish. But I don't feel very good about it. I feel that all beings have a right to live. Animals are sold. I know that because I see them all the time, and they're just amazing. And I communicate with them, and they talk to me. Animals are amazing. You know, they are. I feel that, you know, they obviously, I mean, they have every right to live, and they're just as important as we are, you know. It's like, you know, the sort of the gender thing. People who think they were born in the wrong body. I think it's psychological. I don't think souls are accidentally stuck in the wrong body. Though, who knows? I mean, you know, what do I know? That might just be possible. People being homosexual, I don't have a problem with that at all, as long as people love each other, you know, so we love and respect each other. I don't see that there's a problem with that. In fact, I've known gay animals, 2 geese that were gay as Christmas, and they really loved each other, you know. But again, there's always the hijack, and never underestimate it, because it will take anything at all and twist it so that it can feed, you know. And yeah, gender reassignments, you know, your DNA will always tell you that you're a man or a woman, you know. I don't see how that poppy creature was talking, oh, there are no genders. Well, I beg to differ. You know, we need to, I mean, well, in these times now, it is so crucial to maintain a high vibration in terms of personal integrity, that requires work all the time, you know, and introspection. Also, critical thought. Don't take anything at face value at all, you know, and never ever think, well, I'm awakened now, because awakening is an ongoing process. Don't ever say, oh, well, I know what's going on now, because you might think so, but you really don't. This rabbit hole just gets, it just goes on and on and on and on, you know. Don't underestimate yourself, but don't overestimate yourself, you know, and integrity is important, and courage. Keep on digging. Introspection. And keep making those connections. The truth about everything, a lot of it lies in how you're feeling. Feelings are very important. They're very good Geiger counters. How am I feeling? How does this place feel? How does eating meat feel? How does that make me feel? It might be alright for you, you see. If it's alright for you, if it feels fine, then that's fine. That's just your journey. For me, I can't do it anymore. I can't. You could ask yourself, like say smoking, for a lot of people, a friend smokes, it's fine, no problem. For me, couldn't do it anymore, you know. Different things for different people, but your feelings will never lie to you. And if you're honestly, with integrity, tune into your feelings and ask yourself, okay, how is this making me feel? How's that making me feel? They will always tell you, if you care to hear, if you care to feel your feelings. And for that reason, feelings are very good guidance, you know, feelings, intuition. But yeah, make no mistake, people, this awakening will carry on for a while yet, and it's brutal, but it has to be, because it is the only way. The only way out is through. If we want out of this realm, then this realm needs to be purged out of us, you know. Years ago there was a guy, and he used to be with the Scientology. Oh yeah, there's not a nice little gaslighting operation there. Anyway, he used to be with Scientology, and he was one of their bully boys, you know. They like to do that, and they like to send their minions around other people's houses, threatening them and whatnot. Anyway, he had left Scientology several years previously, and he was in this Louis Theroux documentary. Now, the first thing I thought after about 2 minutes was, well, he may have left Scientology, but Scientology has not left him, because my God, this guy was a fucking sociopath. All those gaslighting, manipulative tactics that he had learned whilst in Scientology, he employed. I mean, he was horrible. I think he was totally an OP anyway, so never mind. But he is, wow, awful. And I think that is a case in point, you know. There is no getting out or achieving reset until that shit, which is this reality, this realm within us, until that has been healed, harmonized and purged and composted. And that is what we're doing. And for that reason, there is no way that you can deny the existence of evil and truly the heinous, twisted, perverse, sick shit that is going on. We've got to look at it, because whatever it is, and whatever the shenanigans are, some counterpart, some reflection of it will lie within our own being, and we need to address it there. That is simply how that works. It's very shamanic, you know, so that's that. Anyway, I'd like to just call it a day now, because otherwise I'll just keep talking and yeah, well, like I said, I'll put the links in the description box below. And, well, have a look at it if you like. Wherever you are, wherever you find yourselves, I send you all my love. Keep fighting the good fight. Don't do denial. It's truly not of the light at all. Just know that love doesn't do denial. No. Love and light, you know, what does light do? You know, light is like water. It goes in all to the little nooks and grannies, and it illuminates everything. That is what it does, you know. So, seeing as we are warriors of the light, we didn't come here to pretend everything is fine, because what's the bloody point of that, you know? That's serving the darkness, you know. And there are no doubt people out there advocating that, and I don't think they are servants of the light. Anyway, see you again soon.